Tonight at Heartland, one choice could change everything. A quiet evening at the ranch turns heavy when Ty gathers the courage to speak. Amy feels the shift in the air before a single word leaves his mouth. Love is strong, but so is a dream. When truth steps forward, someone must move with it, or watch it ride away. The sun drops behind the hills and paints the barn in a soft orange glow, and the fields breathe out the last warmth of the day. Crickets begin their small song, and the wind lifts the smell of hay and wood. Ty stands by the barn door with his hands in his jacket pockets, not because of cold, but because he is holding himself together. He watches the yard like he might find courage in the dust, taking one slow breath after another. He has practiced this talk in his head, but the words feel too big for any plan. Amy steps out of the house with a gentle sway in her walk, wiping her hands on a towel, the way she always does after dinner. She spots him at once and feels a quiet pull in her chest. She knows the signs, the still shoulders, the way he looks at the ground before he looks at her. She walks closer, and her voice is soft. She asks if he is all right. Ty says he is here because he owes her the truth. His voice is even, but a tremor lives under it, like a small horse wanting to run. Amy gives him space to speak, and he tries to keep his eyes on hers, so she knows this is honest. He tells her there is a chance waiting for him across the ocean, a chance to help animals in a new way, to learn from doctors who fix what others cannot, to stand in rooms where he can grow and bring that growth home. He says the word America, and it lands between them like a gate they did not build. Amy takes a step back and feels the ground shift under her boots, not because the earth moved, but because the life she knows just tilted. She thinks of Lindy, of early mornings, of Jack's steady advice, of the barns and the fences and the trails where their story has lived. She wants to ask 100 questions and none at all. She wants to hold him, and also hold him still. Ty reaches for her hand and says he loves her, that this is not an escape, that it is a call he cannot ignore. He promises that love does not end at a border. Amy hears the promise and hears the risk. The night grows quiet around them, as if the ranch is waiting for her answer. She looks at Ty, at the man who fought his way to this family and never let go. The wind rises and slips through the barn slats, and in that sound she hears the shape of a choice. She is not ready to choose, not yet, but she is ready to listen. And for now, that is the only door she can open. The space between Amy and Ty is filled with more than the evening air. It is filled with questions neither has asked yet, and fears both are trying to hide. Amy stares past him for a moment, her eyes on the hills as if the land itself might give her strength. She has always known Ty as a man of action, a man who fixes broken things with his hands, not a man who dreams of leaving. The silence presses in on her, louder than any words. She remembers the first time he returned from being away, how his arms felt like home when he wrapped them around her, how she promised herself she would never lose him again. But now here he is, not pulling away but offering her a path that does not end at Heartland. Ty shifts his weight and clears his throat. He speaks slowly, as if every word costs something. He tells her about the letter, the offer, the phone call he never meant to answer. He explains how the program in America is unlike anything else. It is not just work, it is a chance to become someone stronger, to save more lives than he can here. His eyes carry hope, but also guilt. Amy notices both, and it unsettles her. She wants to argue, to remind him that everything he needs is right here at the ranch. But another part of her, the quiet part that has always understood Ty's restless heart, wonders if holding him back would break something in both of them. The horses in the paddock shift and snort, sensing the tension in their owners. Spartan lifts his head, watching Amy with quiet eyes, as if he knows her storm before she feels it. Amy's chest tightens. She wants to turn to Spartan, to lean on the comfort of an old friend, but Ty is standing there waiting for her words. Her silence feels heavy, almost like betrayal. She forces herself to speak, and the first words come out sharper than she meant. She asks if he has already decided, if she even matters in this plan. Her voice shakes, not with anger, but with fear. Ty steps closer, his voice firm but tender. He tells her she matters more than anything. He says he would never make this choice without her, but the truth is the decision has been living in him for weeks. He admits he was afraid she would see him as selfish, afraid she would think he was leaving her behind. His honesty cuts deeper than any argument could. Amy feels tears burning at the edges of her eyes, but she blinks them away. She is not ready to break in front of him. The night deepens. A dog barks in the distance, and the stars begin to show. Amy crosses her arms, not to push him away, but to hold herself together. She tells him she needs time, that she cannot give him an answer tonight. Ty nods, though his face shows the weight of her words. He reaches out again, but this time she does not take his hand. She turns toward the house, her steps slow, her heart heavier than before. Ty watches her go, the shadows swallowing her figure. He stays by the barn, alone with the horses and his thoughts, wondering if he has already lost something he cannot get back. Amy lies awake that night, staring at the wooden beams of her ceiling. The bed feels colder than usual, the air heavier. Ty's words echo in her mind, and with each repetition they twist differently, sometimes like a promise, sometimes like a threat. She thinks about the many times Ty had been pulled away before, whether by work, by duty, or by life itself. Each time he had come back, but each time she had wondered if one day he might not. The fear that lived quiet in her chest has now been given a name, and that name is America. Outside, the night stretches wide. The sound of the horses shuffling in their stalls drifts into the house, steady and grounding, but not enough to soothe her heart. She thinks of Lindy, her daughter asleep in the next room, dreaming innocent dreams untouched by hard choices. Amy whispers to herself that she has to think of more than her own heart. Lindy deserves a father close by, not a name spoken across a border. But another thought follows close behind, that maybe what Lindy deserves even more is a father who follows his calling, a man who shows her that courage is not only found in staying, but also in stepping into the unknown. Amy remembers her mother for a moment, her strength, her sacrifices. She wonders what advice she would give now. Would she tell Amy to fight for her family's togetherness, or to let Ty spread his wings for the sake of the future? The question lingers with no answer. The silence of the room feels like it holds ghosts, and Amy cannot escape them. Meanwhile, Ty is not sleeping either. Out in the loft above the barn, he sits at the small desk with the letter unfolded in front of him. The words blur together because he has read them too many times. He thinks of Amy's eyes when he told her. He had seen disappointment, maybe even betrayal, though she had tried to hide it. He knows the life they built is fragile, but he also knows that if he ignores this chance, a different kind of fracture will grow inside him. He rubs his temples and whispers to himself that he does not want to lose her, that no dream is worth that. But the whisper sounds weak in the dark, like a truth he wants to believe, but does not fully. The clock ticks past midnight. The ranch is still, but both Amy and Ty lie awake in separate places, each replaying the same words, each fearing the same outcome. Neither knows what the other is thinking in this moment. Neither knows if love is enough to bridge the choice that now stands between them. The morning comes without warmth. The sky is pale, brushed with gray, as if it too carries the weight of the night before. Amy steps into the kitchen, her boots soft against the old wooden floor. The coffee pot hisses, filling the room with its sharp scent, but the comfort that usually comes with it never arrives. She moves quietly, careful not to wake Lindy yet. Her daughter's laughter is usually the sound that anchors her mornings, but today Amy almost dreads hearing it. How do you smile at your child when your heart is tangled with fear of what might be slipping away? Jack notices. He always does. He sits at the table reading the newspaper, though his eyes barely touch the words. He studies Amy instead. He asks her gently if everything's all right, his voice calm but searching. Amy pauses, her hands still on the coffee pot. She considers brushing it off with a smile, but the weight inside her is too heavy for masks. She sighs and tells him that Ty has an opportunity far from Heartland, far from them, and that he wants to take it. Jack leans back in his chair, his jaw tightening, though his voice remains even. He says he understands Ty's nature, that a man who has fought so hard to find himself will always be drawn to the next battle. But he adds that every choice has a cost, and sometimes the people we love end up paying it. The words land hard. Amy nods, though her eyes blur with unshed tears. She feels seen, but also more afraid. If Jack, who has always been steady as stone, admits this could break them, then what hope is there? She pours him coffee, more for the comfort of routine than anything else, and sits down beside him. She asks quietly if he thinks love can stretch across borders. Jack takes his time answering. Finally, he says love can stretch, but not without strain, and the strain can wear even the strongest rope thin. Later, outside in the yard, Amy finds herself watching Ty as he works with Spartan. He moves with the calm certainty that first drew her to him, the gentle hand on the reins, the patience in his stance. Spartan trusts him completely, leaning into his touch. Amy feels her heart twist. How can someone so rooted in this place, in this life, dream of leaving it behind? She wants to shout across the field, to ask him why she is not enough to keep him here. But she stays silent, watching instead, torn between pride in the man he is and fear of the man he may become if she lets him go. Ty feels her eyes on him, though he does not turn right away. He strokes Spartan's neck, murmuring softly, but inside his chest the same storm churns. He knows Amy is slipping further into doubt, and he does not know if he has the words to pull her back. He finally looks toward her, their eyes meeting across the distance. No words pass between them, but in that moment the truth is clear. They are standing on opposite sides of a choice neither is ready to make. By the time the sun climbs high, the air at Heartland feels charged, restless. Clouds gather over the hills, not yet rain but heavy enough to make the ranch animals unsettled. The horses pace in their stalls, ears twitching. Even Lindy senses the change. She tugs on Amy's sleeve, asking why Daddy looks so serious. Amy forces a smile, bending down to kiss her daughter's forehead, but her voice shakes when she says, "Everything is fine." Children always know when things are not fine. Ty is in the barn when Amy finally goes to him. The smell of hay and leather wraps around them, but the usual comfort of that space is gone. Ty sets down his tools when he sees her. He does not wait for her to speak this time. His voice comes low and steady, as if he has decided to face the storm head-on. He says he cannot keep quiet any longer, that they cannot live in silence, circling each other like strangers. He tells her again about America, but this time with urgency in his tone. It is not just an offer. It is a future already calling to him. Amy does not hold back either. Her voice rises, cracked with the weight of nights, without sleep. She asks him how many times he expects her to endure him leaving. She reminds him of the fights they had in the past, the promises that home was here, with her, with their daughter. She tells him she has built a life around trust, and each time he speaks of leaving, that trust shakes. The barn walls seem to shrink around them as her words cut through the air. Ty listens, not interrupting, his jaw tight. When she is finished, he steps closer, his eyes wet but his shoulders firm. He tells her that staying silent about this dream would be worse than leaving. He says he cannot live half a life, pretending he is whole when part of him is always reaching for more. He admits that he is terrified, not of failing in America, but of losing her while chasing something he believes is right. Amy's anger melts into raw pain. She looks at him, really looks, and sees the boy he once was. The one who came to Heartland, broken and searching. She remembers how she healed alongside him, how their love grew out of shared wounds. Her chest aches with the truth that maybe he is still searching. And maybe this is part of who he has always been. The storm outside cracks with thunder, as if echoing the fight inside the barn. Lindy's small voice calls from the house asking where her parents are. Amy closes her eyes, torn between running to her daughter and staying to finish the war of words. Ty reaches for her hand again, but she hesitates, the space between their palms wide with fear. She whispers that if he goes, part of her will always wonder if he chose the dream over the family. Ty whispers back that if he stays, part of him will always wonder if he chose fear over the dream. They stand like that, eyes locked, hearts breaking in different directions, while the storm finally opens above them, rain hammering against the roof. The storm does what neither Ty nor Amy can. It forces silence. Rain lashes against the tin roof of the barn, drowning out their heavy breaths, softening the sharp edges of their words. The downpour is relentless, a curtain between them and the rest of the world. For a moment, it feels like the ranch itself has drawn its own boundaries, demanding they face only each other. Ty lowers his hand, no longer reaching, but not retreating either. His voice comes quiet, almost swallowed by the rain, but Amy hears it. He says he cannot remember the last time he felt this torn. He admits he wanted her to understand without him needing to explain. Wanted her to see the fire in his chest, the way she once saw the pain in his eyes when he was lost. He says maybe he has been selfish, asking her to read his heart without giving her the full map. Amy moves closer, her boots crunching against the straw. She has no anger left, only the ache of love stretched too thin. She tells him she does understand, more than he thinks. She knows what it means to follow a calling, to listen when something greater than comfort pulls at your spirit. But she also knows the cost of absence, the way an empty seat at the table becomes louder than words. She reminds him that she cannot carry the weight of this ranch, their family and her own heart alone, while he builds something far away. The horses stir, uneasy from the storm. Spartan stamps his hoof, and Amy instinctively lays a calming hand on him. Ty watches, struck by the quiet strength in her, the same strength that first drew him to her. He realizes he is not asking her to let him go, but asking her to shoulder the unknown with him. And maybe, just maybe, he has not made that clear. He steps closer again, rain dripping through a crack in the roof onto his shoulder. He does not wipe it away. His voice steadies as he tells her this is not about leaving her. It is about becoming more for her, for Lindy, for all of them. He says if he takes this chance, he wants her by his side, not left behind. He asks, not demands, if she can see the road with him, even if it is far from the land they love. Amy's throat tightens. The rain outside slows, turning from thunder to steady drops. She feels the storm easing, but the one inside her is far from over. She looks into Ty's eyes and sees the same boy who once promised her forever, and the man now asking her to risk it all for something bigger. Her lips part as if to speak, but no words come. Only the sound of rain fills the pause, as though nature itself waits for her choice. The rain thins to a mist, soft against the barn roof, like the world has gone quiet on purpose. Amy and Ty stand only a breath apart now, neither moving, both waiting for the other to close the distance. Amy's fingers twitch at her side, aching to take his hand, but her heart is still tangled in fear. Ty waits, his eyes locked on hers, searching for the answer she has not spoken. Lindy's laughter drifts faintly from the house, carried by the fresh air after the storm. The sound pierces Amy's chest. She sees her daughter's small face. In her mind, sees the morning routines, the bedtime stories, the gentle comfort of a life where Ty's boots rest by the door every night. But she also sees what Ty is offering: a wider world, a chance to make a mark, a chance to give Lindy a father who lives his truth instead of burying it. Amy swallows hard, her voice finally breaking through the silence. She tells Ty she cannot give him an answer tonight. Her heart is too heavy, her thoughts too tangled. She says she needs to protect Lindy from a choice made in haste, and she needs to protect herself from making a promise she cannot keep. Her words tremble, but they carry strength. Ty nods, though pain flickers across his face. He whispers that he will wait, but not forever. He cannot hold back the tide if it means drowning who he is meant to become. The two stand frozen, the air between them alive with everything unsaid. Spartan nudges Amy's shoulder gently, as if urging her to lean into the love she fears losing. She does not move. Instead, she turns her gaze toward the hills beyond the ranch, where the clouds are breaking and the sky glows faintly gold with evening light. It feels like a sign, but she does not yet know what it means. Ty takes a step back, his boots crunching against the straw. His eyes linger on her for a long moment before he turns toward the barn door. He does not leave, not yet, but his body carries the weight of a man preparing to. Amy watches him, her lips parting as if to call him back, but no sound escapes. The silence stretches, thick and trembling, until it feels like the whole ranch is holding its breath. And then the screen fades to black. The narrator's voice breaks through the hush. One choice will decide their future. Will Amy fight to keep Ty at Heartland, or will she follow him into the unknown? The answer waits in the next episode.